And you forget them.
See, but I can drop them before I even get started.
It would be nice to know some of them. You never know. You may just get along very well, and it's nice. Like you're all having children now, and get the children together at least maybe once ever so often. Let them know of each other. But so often, I'm not too crazy about it. But of course, if you go in a group, it's different because you can appoint your own transportation, and it would be like a member who is already there, who knows the roads, can because that was what happened. It's one of the family members that drove the van, you know. So in a case like that, it won't be bad because it's a group of people. But just like when Richard and Nancy went out there, he was saying that, Mom, maybe we could rent a cab to go up to the funeral. I said, forget it. I said, don't even think about it. You're not going to rent any private cab because these are the things that people look out for, you see. And you don't even know if you can trust the cab driver because he may have people that he's in league with.
I mean, was it even remotely like that when you grew up?
No, my dear. Nothing like that. It was not. Just
You
a
can
crime.
trust the cab driver?
Just a crime mistake, no.
Unless it was Uncle Victor.
So Uncle Victor was a cab driver?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he used to run a cab service.
No,
there.
Pop was a cab driver in New York. Was he ever a
Yeah.
cab driver in Jamaica?
But you see,
No,
in Jamaica, it's different, like being a cab driver, because he take passengers. It's not like the cab drivers here who just run around taking passengers. It's like special trips he would make. Say, for instance, they live in a small town called Watrell. The nearest big town is Black River. And like on a Saturday, people want to go to Black River. Then he would get a group and he packed them up and go, you know. It's they had to appoint him, they had to book him.
Yeah, right.
That kind of a cab service it was. And but it was it's a very big family. That family is very large, and especially from the grandmother's side, because that's why I said Pat at the hospital could be related, because she comes from Wright background too. And there's a Brian Wright that she speaks about all the time. And Brian Wright was a minister, an Anglican minister. And I knew him because he used to come to my church and help a lot. And that's her true cousin. But then I asked her, he had a brother who died in an automobile. He was engaged to be married. I can't remember the name of the girl. And he died in an automobile accident. I'll never forget that. And we heard that he had died and they were supposed to be getting married shortly, you know. You think of all those people now and you say, gosh, everybody's old. All those people must be so old now. So
What, the people you grew up with, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
actually,
Older than you.
Some were. Some were. But it's nice to be, it's really nice. You have no idea how I feel when I was able to make contact again with Grace and Merle after we lost trace of each other. And now Grace swear we will never, did I tell you she sent me some pictures of herself?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she sent
Oh, wait, no, I think you showed them to us. So wasn't this like a year ago or so that she sent them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Did I show them to you when you were
Yeah,
there?
mhm.
Yeah. So she says, I know you take care of them, and I have so many, I don't know what to do with them.
Now, these are two friends from Jamaica
Yeah.
that you found here. Yeah.
No, yeah, that I found here after years of. We were in contact at one time.
You ever going to go to Las Vegas and visit her, or are you going to...
Well, she's waiting on an apartment in Seattle, because her brother, who had moved to Seattle, to Las Vegas, to really help George and herself when he got so sick, eventually moved back to Seattle.
And this is
because
a brother who's still in love with you?
No, well, he's supposed to be in love with me. He's in Florida. Oh, what a crazy car.
All right, we can look him up when we're in Florida in a few
Crazy
months.
car. Yeah, it's so crazy. And but he wanted to be close to his kids, so he moved back to Seattle, and he's trying to get an apartment. He has put in for an apartment for her, but it's not, that.
So, like, all these people are up in their 80s and stuff?
Yeah, well,
What is it? Is it
Grace.
Jamaican water or something? Like,
Possibly the
Yeah.
food. I said, who is it I said that to? He said, Pat was saying, Pat at the hospital was saying that they had a reunion recently. And she says, cousins that I had never met in my life were there. And she said her children, who are now interested in all this extension of family, are so happy to meet all these people. And then she said there were cousins who she knew as a little boy, like one in particular. She said he was such a nuisance that every time he comes around us, we would go, get away from us, get away from us. And she said when she saw him at this reunion, she had to look up to him, you know, things like that. So we're talking about the way we look and all that. So she says, you know, it was the food we had. We didn't have any, everything was so natural. We had the fruits on the tree. We would just pick the fruits and eat it. The food that came from the ground, we had no chemicals
And all that coconut oil, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. But
All that healthy coconut.
don't you know they're saying that coconut oil is good for you now?
Oh,
Did you
really?
know that? Yeah. They're saying
It's
that.
pretty high in fat, though, isn't it?
Yes, they're saying that though, because they say it's natural. It's natural.
A natural artery hardener.
Yeah. But it's a good life. It's nice to really get back with your old friends. It feels so good, especially with so many years between you. Grace and I were remembering an issue here. I had invited her to church because I was still at the St. Margaret's at the time. And we were going on this bus to church this Sunday because I'd spent the weekend at her house. And there was a little boy on the bus, you know, and he was so cute, like you see cute kids, and we're talking to him and playing
Not
with
like your
him.
grandkids. So.
Yeah. Oh, you mean not, no, you mean not as cute as my grandkids.
No.
Nobody's as cute as my grandkids. And he just stared at us and he says, you know what he's saying, he must be saying, I wish these old women would stop bothering me.
Wait, and this is when you were in your 20s or something?
Yes, early 20s. So Grace is saying, you know, she reminded me of that. I said, you know, your memory's really good. So she said, if he should see us now, wherever he is, I wonder what he would call
Yeah, but you know,
Well,
he'd be
he's
60.
probably-
Yeah.
he's going to be, if you were 20, he's going to be an old man too. You might look better than him.
That's true too. Yeah, so we do have fun about our past, you know, sometimes.
Yeah, I just find it hard to believe that you've known people for 50-some years. I
50
mean,
odd years, because I said we were in our 20s. Before, well, I wasn't even 25 when I met Grace. It was earlier than that.
now how did she come up to the United States? I mean,
Well, she married a Canadian.
that she met down there, or she met up?
No, she had left Jamaica and went to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Because see, Grace's parents were not really rich. They were comfortable, you know. But they had an uncle. She had an uncle, her father's brother, who was quite well off.
Okay, and father's
And
brother. all right.
he and his wife never, he was married to this English woman, they never had children.
Mm-hmm.
And they adopted a girl who, the story I heard was that she kind of went a little funny.
Mm-hmm.
And she eventually died. So he had nobody, and he really helped his brother's children. He did a lot for each one of them. Whatever they wanted to do, he would finance it. Like her eldest brother went away to Canada to study agronomy. He financed that. Grace only wanted to go to Canada. He gave her a certain amount to go. Carl wanted to go into trucking, the same one that was in love with me.
Right.
He wanted to go into trucking, and then he gave him money. He just helped all of his brother's children. And in fact, the eldest brother, Winston, he gave him some of the land, and Winston, that was the one who went to study, and he went back home and he ran that property, that estate.
Mm-hmm.
Now what Grace told me is that the house that the uncle and her auntie lived in, they have now turned it into a nursing home for seniors.
It was that big that they
Yeah,
could.
yeah.
Wow.
And
How come we don't have any relatives that rich?
yeah, I wondered too. I wondered myself. Yes, he turned it into a nursing home. So Winston still has his place there, but he goes and comes between Canada, because he was married to a Canadian, Eileen. And but
So Grace went up to Canada for
Canada,
what?
and
To just live for a while?
To
Mhm.
live, and she met her husband up
Mhm.
there, and they got married.
I get the sense it was just kind of the thing to come to America.
No,
Canada.
no. She had gone there permanently.
But why she went there was because it wasn't Jamaica.
Yeah, she wanted to get away because people were really migrating then, a lot, mostly to England.
Is it because there were no jobs? I
Yeah.
mean, is that what it was?
Mostly to England.
And then Canada, I guess there's like an English connection
Yes,
there.
right.
Yeah.
Because I was supposed to be going too, because Merle went shortly after that, and she didn't go permanently, but she met her husband up there and got married and got to stay. So they
So
were,
you were supposed to go to Canada
yeah, I
too?
was supposed to have been planning to join them, you know,
Uh-huh.
but then I came here instead.
And how'd you decide to do that? How'd you decide to do that instead of Canada?
Her sister.
Because Olga was here, and she.
That's right.
Anyhow, so
And
then Grace
and that was
came.
because like she came up and then Ryland followed her. Is that what happened, or?
Yes, right. She came up on a temporary visa,
Mhm.
and then he was in the ministry out there, and he decided that he wanted to be to come.
And he just
follow
showed up
here.
on her door or
And
something,
he
right?
came up, yeah. But the funny thing is, she still talks about it, you know. And like she brought it up with Joy, and Joy says, "Auntie, will you stop saying that?" You know.
What, that he followed her up
Yeah,
here?
yeah, we
Uh-huh.
wanted to- But the boyfriend she had was really a good-looking fellow, Aston McComb. Very good-looking. He was like a half Syrian,
Mhm.
and that she was friendly with at one time.
Wait, Syria? From Syria? Is that what you're
He
saying?
wasn't from Syria, but he was like a half Syrian.
Okay.
Very good-looking. He was short, but very good-looking.
That sounds like an alien from Star Trek. He's half Syrian. Yeah.
So she took his picture down with her to Bride. And Bride said, "Why are you doing this? How can you be walking around with
Wait a
this?"
minute. Wait, just like a few
She's
months
not
ago when
again.
she was in,
Yes.
she had a picture of her old
Yeah.
boyfriend
You want
from
to show
50
this
years
movie?
ago? Not to her.
No, you'll have to take it out again. Brian said, "Auntie Olga, how can you be traveling around with your old boyfriend's picture showing showing me what is..."
How long have they been married? 50 years?
Oh,
No,
God.
60 years.
Who? Olga and Ryan? Not
No, they just celebrated the
Yeah,
50th.
That is so
A few years
amazing.
ago.
Well, anyway, so
Anyhow, so he followed her. He decided he would come and do dentistry, which was what he really came here to do. So he got into a university, I forget in what state.
Ryland was going to go into dentistry?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So he because he didn't, you see, when he came here, he did not want, he was a Baptist minister in the island. And the Baptist ministry home is quite different to the Black Baptist here.
Mhm.
They don't jump and all that kind of thing. Only one religion do the jumping in Jamaica. We call them Bocamanians. Yeah. And there's street preachers. They don't have a church, they street in the street. And they really dance. And the spirit, they... so they go on. So he didn't like that. So he decided that he was not going to be involved with it. So he said, okay, I'll do dentistry. So he was in another state. I don't remember what state it was. But that poor man used to come up here every weekend. Ryland would, as he has told us this story, he has slept on the train because Olga didn't have a apartment per se. She, like friends and her had a room in a, and he couldn't stay with her, you know, because in those days, anyhow, it wasn't proper like, you know. And he would sleep on a train. He fell asleep on the train. So after a while, no, he decided that he would come to New York. And he was going to try to get his permanent stay, and that was a whole long story that they went through. Olga still talks about it, what we went through in this country to get to stay here. Because she was not here permanently. He wasn't here permanently.
Mhm.
So he was told that if he goes up to Canada, no. He came back home to Jamaica in the anticipation of getting a permanent stay to come back here.
Mhm.
Now, they were married by this time. They got married. And she was allowed to stay here until he got back.
Mhm.
But then the immigration department in Jamaica gave him a hard time.
Mhm.
So he had to leave Jamaica and go to England. He took a boat to
Oh my
England.
gosh. Yeah.
And he was in England for a while. I don't remember how long now. But he eventually came here through England.
Mhm.
And that was how it is. So it was a really, they really had, especially Olga being here alone because didn't know whether she was going to be deported, if you know, and all that kind of thing. She went through quite a bit, to tell you the
Yeah.
truth.
I mean, we take it for granted. I mean,
Yes,
we're
yes.
citizens because we were born here.
And
but-
then, you know, as I said to Joy the other day, I said we have a lot to be thankful to her
I
for.
wasn't born.
Yeah, because it's through her that we are all
You were
here,
too.
you know?
I was born here, wasn't
Yeah, of course. So I said to Joy, you know, whatever her little shortcomings may be, we have a lot to be thankful for because all of us came here through her.
Right.
Every one of us. She brought Lynn